Mystery giant ground sloths, still living. From the first prehistoric fossils discovered in the 1700s AD, giant ground sloth have lived in the Americas, North America, Central America, and South America, from 35 million years ago to many centuries past the end of the Pleistocene era, the Ice Age. The largest ground sloths belong to the classification known as Megatherium, which comes from the Greek words mega meaning great and thorium meaning beast. Megatherium stood 6 meters 20 feet to 7 meters 23 feet tall. These hairy giants weighed between 8,000 pounds, 4 tons to 14,000 pounds, 7 tons. The great beasts were slow, lumbering, and cumbersome. Another type of giant ground sloth is Megalonyx, which comes from the Greek words meaning great claw. The name was proposed in 1797 by Thomas Jefferson, born April 13, 1743, died July 4, 1826, the American founding father who was the principal author of the American Declaration of Independence and later served as the third President of the United States of America from 1801 to 1809. Thomas Jefferson was given prehistoric fossils of a giant ground sloth found on the floor of a cave in the territory of the state of Virginia, later becoming West Virginia, during the Wheeling Conventions of 1861 during the American Civil War. West Virginia became admitted to the Union on June 20, 1863, and was a key Civil War border state. One type of inanimate insignia of West Virginia is its official recognition of Jefferson's ground sloth, Megalonyx jeffersonia, as its state fossil. When Thomas Jefferson examined the prehistoric sloth fossils, he did not know they were from a giant ground sloth and erroneously thought they were from a tiger or a lion until 1799. The bones were identified correctly as coming from a giant ground sloth by Baron Cuvier, 1769 to 1832, the French master naturalist, whose full name was Georges Leopold Chrétien Frédéric Dagobert Baron Cuvier. Megalonyx measured about 3 meters, 9.8 feet, tall and weighed 1,000 kilograms, 2,205 pounds. This size is considered medium among the giant ground sloths. Megalonyx was found throughout much of North and Central America. Their remains have been found north of Alaska and the Yukon in Canada. There are many other species of prehistoric giant ground sloths in the Americas. There have been ancient fossils of these beasts that show intact hairs. The colors of the fur of the sloths are black, brownish black, white, whitish black, reddish brown, red, brown, gray, or grayish brown, but they may have other color combinations. The giant ground sloths had a broad head, thick skin, and a dense shaggy coat of fur, plus powerful sharp claws, all of which gave these giant mammals a good measure of protection against predators. These prehistoric sloths stood semi-erect while feeding on tree leaves, stripping the leaves and tearing off branches with their powerful forelimbs and highly developed claws. Due to their bulky weight, the sloth giants could not climb trees. These giant furry animals also fed on hard grasses and plants that grew on the ground, as well as shrubs, fruits, twigs, and yucca. The vast majority of giant ground sloths were vegetarians and herbivores, plant eaters, but some of these huge mammals were omnivorous, feeding on the food of both plant and animal origin. While the percentage of these behemoths decreased significantly during the Ice Age due to the freezing climate, many of these sloths survived long after the Ice Age ended. However, early-stage primitive men and tribes used boulders, rocks, spears, and knives, chasing the animals over cliffs, making the animals fall into disguised deep pits and then clubbing, stoning, and spearing the sloths to death, and eating their bodies for meat caused the giant sloth to vanish from the Americas normally by 10,000 years ago, though some of these sloths may have been hunted to extinction as recently as 8,000 years ago. Today, there are very small sloths, only a few feet tall, living in the Amazon rainforest. However, Giant ground sloths may still exist in and around the Amazon rainforest, which covers 2,123,582 square miles and is located in South America, a continent where Megatherium originally came from and thrived for millions of years until driven to near extinction by ancient men. Various Amazonian Native American Indian tribes have told stories for centuries about seeing a large creature that appears to correspond to the giant ground sloth, living far away from human habitation and human hunters. Although some of the stories appear fanciful or mythical, others appear genuine and tell of giant ground sloths, which are normally solitary animals that rarely wander in groups but are still part of families that live in South America. Furthermore, some people believe that at least some of the Bigfoot sightings in North America are the result of a very small number of giant ground sloths. The animals cohabitate in extreme isolation from humans in the woodlands and open fields of the United States of America and Canada. While no skeletons of Bigfoot, the ape-like creature or the missing link, have ever been discovered, there have been many skeletons of giant ground sloths discovered in the Americas.